Hello and welcome to NewFilmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the Camera Los Angeles showroom in West Hollywood, and I'm here with writer-director of Sugar, Kimi Lee. Let's take a look at a clip.
There's nothing to be afraid of here. My point is not to scare you, just to educate you, okay?
What about you? Got a boy back in the city?
No, but I've done the whole long distance charade.
I fucking love you.
It's definitely a struggle.
You know, I can really help you if you let me.
Kimi, congratulations on Sugar.
so much.
It was a really terrific film. For those that haven't had the pleasure of seeing it, tell us a brief synopsis.
It's a story that's told in the past and present, and it's about a girl who delves into a transactional relationship, sort of this affluent suburban family man, while also flashing back to her relationship living in the city with her younger boyfriend. So it's sort of about the transactional nature of relationships and, you know, age deficit and being a modern woman, I guess.
Well, it was a really fascinating story, and I thought it was beautifully directed and wrote in the way that you just did the flashbacks, and you felt her history and then what she's going through right now. And obviously you wrote this story as well. Where did the inspiration come from?
Well, it's actually a short that is derived from a larger feature that I had written back in 2015 that actually won the Blue Cat screenplay competition. And you know, I think for me, having grown up in Lower Manhattan, in a city, I've always been interested in suburbia and everything that is sort of percolating beneath the scenes that you don't necessarily see. And, you know, I went to a school where this was definitely very prevalent. It was sort of back in the I shouldn't say early, but back in 2015 when there was sort of that whole boom and expose of like the sugar baby, sugar daddy relationships, all of these websites. Something that really got me thinking, you know, as I was graduating college, sort of how much you've been preened to go out into the workforce, but then you also see that there are so many people that are sort of reverting back to this antiquated way of like being a kept woman. And I wanted to explore that, I guess, in film.
I think that's really fascinating, and having lived in New York myself, I sort of know how it's such a different world to when you live in a big city like that as well. Beautifully shot and beautifully acted, and you know, there was so much in there that I could feel from the actors and what they were kind of going through and what was on their minds, and you had some very terrific, quite open scenes as well. What I loved about it was so open. You know, obviously you had a great cast. How do you come about bringing your cast together?
Most of it, you know, I casted friends and my younger sister, people that I knew were really eager to be sort of launched into some sort of project where they could exhibit their talents. And I also, you know, because it was so low budget, I knew that I wouldn't be able to pay very many SAG actors. So I wanted to find people that would do it for free, which is nice. And people that were really willing to work with a first-time director, and you know, that I had that personal relationship with, that I felt like I could direct. I think it's different when you're completely delving into something with a complete stranger. So, you know, the casting process, I wrote a lot of the parts with some of my friends in mind. For example, the German girl, my friend Polly, who played Aiden, I wrote that part with him in mind. And the only person that we cast very traditionally was Wendell, who played Tom. So we did a, you know, casting call for him, had a bunch of people come in, read.
He was perfect. It was really good. You don't often get this in independent film, but it was obviously at a moment where you sort of had, you know, full nudity, like which was actually just it was beautifully put together and shot, and obviously it was a kind of a point. It gave a real essence to what was happening in the film. Was that something that your actress was comfortable with, or how did that come about?
There's actually an interesting story behind that, but because, you know, my younger sister was in this role, she had just turned 18, you know, put on a very brave face, but as we were getting that shot where she's going into the bathtub and stuff, we actually ended up cutting other elements where she's sort of undressing, just because no matter what, I couldn't get her to act in a way where she wasn't aware that she was in a room surrounded by people watching her get naked, basically. You kind of felt that palpable, I guess, like male gaze. So in order to remedy that, I had everyone that was on the crew take off their clothes if they were willing. So we were all, the producer was naked.
Oh, wow.
People were sort
That
of
is how, I mean, I'm glad I asked that
bit.
question,
No, because
it's
it
really
definitely
good.
like changed the atmosphere of the room. It kind of made it less so she's just this young person taking her clothes off for all of these silent people in the background. Kind of changed the atmosphere. And then after that, she was very comfortable, and Wendell, who played Tom, he came up to me and he was like, I don't know if this is something that you're interested in, but I'm willing to take off my pants, in the last shot, if that's something you want. And I was like, great, like we will totally take you up on that offer.
So you had a very willing, you must be a very, very comfortable director to work with, and you obviously had a very trusting crew.
I didn't go into it like knowing that I wanted
Nudity, but I
it
think
was something that, as the cast and crew became more comfortable with each other, it felt right, and it.
Well, it certainly was projected in a beautiful artistic way, and that's what I found that was wonderful. It was very artistic, and beautiful. But no, I think the story is as you said, is kind of came from a sort of what goes on in the world. What did you kind of want to get from your audience?
I mean, I think the feature does a better job of showcasing this, but something that I was really interested in is female power, and how maybe in a sense that dissipates as women age, but that's not the case with men, and there is sort of this weird dichotomy where older men still feel completely comfortable going after younger women, and there isn't that, role reversal. And I also really liked, just sort of having the story told in a way where you're delving in and out of memories, and you're sort of seeing that even in her relationship with her boyfriend who was her age, there was still some weird transactional money things happening. He owed her money. She wasn't getting paid back.
That was beautifully. I love those moments where you just captured her, what she had been through, and then what she was, and how that resonated what she was feeling right now, which was very, very clever of you to put that together. What was your biggest challenge?
I think, as a first-time filmmaker, the biggest challenge was shooting in two different locations that were, a 7-hour drive apart from one another.
Because one was in New York and one was in Virginia.
The location that we shot in McLean, Virginia, it was sort of a nightmare to have to bring all of your cast and crew out there. You have the expenses of hotels, transport, you're feeding everyone, and people are sort of held hostage in a sense because they can't go home to their lives and then come back to set. So I think that was a pretty big challenge, meeting all of these strangers and just bunking together, living together for 5 days.
Well, I mean, you're a New Yorker, and you just moved out to Los Angeles, and you've obviously been very successful with your feature and the festival circuit. What's it like to have your film selected for NewFilmmakers LA, to have your film screen in front of an audience after all the hard work, and being a first-time filmmaker and getting such a wonderful reaction?
It's definitely nerve-wracking. I think every audience is different. It's screened before in front of a much older crowd, and I think that it was a little tenser. And I love being able to screen it for, people that maybe find the humor, and there is some levity in the film.
No, we've done very well. What's next for you, Kimi?
I've been working on a bunch of pilots, working on another feature that I hope to try to get off the ground as well. And I think shorts are really a great way to do that, to showcase your talent. So for me, this was totally, a learning experience. I had never made something before and didn't know if I was capable of it.
You certainly are.
Thank you.
It's a shock to me that it is your first film, actually, to be honest, because you just captured our minds so amazingly, and it was so wonderfully written and directed. So I'm very excited to see. We're all very excited to see much more of your stuff. So so congratulations on Sugar, and we'll be seeing much more of your work. So thank you, Kimi.
Thank you.